he has the occasional map where certain tendencies he has where maybe sometimes he's being way too aggressive, or maybe he's not being aggressive enough. That does change on a map-by-map basis. Cypher, there's no way he doesn't know that. So I'm going to be honest, even though Tox is my favorite player, I think prediction-wise this could be 2-1 to Cypher.
2-1 to Cypher.
I feel like this could be Cypher's tournament, to just break out and remind everyone why he has such a legendary name to begin with.
What a story that would be, to come in from challengers, get your spot, and then take it all the way. But again, he's got to take it against Toxjq first. I mean, just to be on the opposite side, I'll go 2-1 Tox. Because I have to. We have to balance the desk, right? But, I mean, we also have all of the evidence pointing to, if he pops off with that aimbot-like aim, it could just absolutely destroy Cypher.
It's one of those strange predictions where I genuinely think Cypher has what it takes to take it today. I do not think a 2-0 either way is going to happen. However, I believe we're good to go. I want to say, guys, thank you so much for sticking with us. Sorry for the delay, but map number 1 is going to get off the ground. However, the champion picks aren't at all what... Oh, never mind. It's going to be Visor and it's going to be Ison. That's the matchup we're going to see. Forget what we said earlier.
This is it was too good to be true. We like to tease everybody, but here it is, Visor versus Ison, as Cypher makes his way into that LG, and those rockets are going to make sure that he doesn't feel too comfortable picking that up. Nevertheless, interested to see the use of Wally on here. Blood Covenant, a nice open map, a little bit harder to trap with, but still there's a lot of nooks and crannies where you can hide the turret and get that extra damage, that information. Good machine gun there as the rails miss.
And it was forcing Tox to retreat too. So that's going to be unreturned damage, forcing Tox away towards Mega, which is going to naturally create maybe a little bit of a rift in the timing in between. But now Cypher, I felt like he was the one that was temporarily in control, getting caught out by that rail though. Tox, those long-range rails of Blood Covenant, they make such a difference. That's going to be a shot too. And yeah, that is going to probably give Cypher, I think, the information that that was a piercing sight rail. It was so quick around the corner without really any time for Tox to react that it must have been, there must have been that assistance, right? So let's see if Cypher can get that timing in his head. He is going to get another rail, make that 2, but not before they trade. And even with this armor, Cypher has to run around and try and get some of these small health bubbles. He's in wonderful shape, gets some tri-bolt damage. That's going to give him some information as well as just a bit of basic damage to begin with. Piercing sight's about to become available for Tox again. Cypher covering his base with that turret drop near teleporter. Might see that a little bit later, but once more, disengaging just a little bit 40. Looking to take things a little bit carefully. Wonderful rocket. A nice little bit of entry damage. The rail as well. Tox forced to retreat. However, this is going to give Cypher an interesting situation now. He has the chance to rocket jump through. The turret's going to give him information. Yeah, he's looking for that angle. And Tox!
What a rail.
Oh, what a shot. The reactions.
Tox is still hanging by a thread, though, trying to get out. The Mega's going to be free for Cypher now as he's done so much damage. Tox trying to heal back up off whatever he can find and stay out of sight while Cypher is on the hunt. He smells blood. Down goes the turret to protect that small armor, or at least give him the information if Toxjq dares go near it. Toxjq is going to get upper green. Cypher's going to make his way over to the heavy.
I think it's a really good choice to throw the turret down near one of the light pickups too, knowing that Tox is going to be weak. There's no way realistically he can fight for any of the major items yet. Tox, a smart player, unlikely to just, bolt his way in. However, that rail, very significant, because now he only needs a couple more really, and then he's kind of back to the even-Steven setting, but there's a little bit more work to go before that happens. Yeah, Tox is trying to play it really safe. He's sitting around the catacombs, the small areas where you have the small pickups. But now he's taking a lot of damage. Going back through the teleporter would be a bit of a risky play. Tox not going to bite. Playing very, very safe indeed so far. It has given Cypher full control, but at the same time, Tox is doing a really good job of just getting his natural stack back. And a couple of rails with that unreturned, and you're pretty much doing all the work there.
And he just stole the Mega from Cypher. Turret goes down, so Cypher knows that Toxjq is nearby. He's waiting outside that telly. There goes the turret again for a little bit of insurance on the rocket launcher. Toxjq deals with that with ease as one lone nail into a rail hits Toxjq. The rocket jump up. There's a rocket waiting for him as Cypher lands on the bridge. Great defensive rocket from Toxjq there.
Tox has done such a wonderful job of just straight up staying alive at the moment. Cypher Hugging to the right, doesn't want to give Tox even a shred of a rail angle. And I think respecting Tox's rail is something you just have to do at this level of play. Speaking of which, though, Cypher has a rail of his own. And he's going to get some of that initial damage there on Tox, who now is looking a bit... See what the objective's going to be. Looking to try and just make Cypher have to, at the very least, fight for a heavy. But now he's going for the backup. Looking to see if maybe he can take the Mega himself. That piercing sight's going to give him the information. But without any rails, it's going to be a little bit difficult. Let's see if he can get in and out. He has no choice but to go to heavy machine gun. It's the best thing he can do from this range.
Cypher trying to line up those rockets. Toxjq playing very cautiously, doesn't want to get hit with anything here. And it's incredible to think that, you know, a couple minutes ago he was down to 5, maybe 10 HP. Not only did he survive, but he's actually looking pretty strong. A little bit of rocket damage there from above.
Yeah, now it's instead of Cypher going just straight up as the basic rotations, on the way he's trying to cut off those small pickups. Because that's ultimately how Toxjq's been surviving, right? He's been getting the small armors and the small health. If Cypher's able to somewhat pepper some rockets down and get that opening damage, maybe it will help him out. Running low on rockets. Has to watch out for the rail. Without a rail, it's going to be very hard to fight back.
5-minute warning.
Ooh, what a spot there. On that broken ledge with a great rail. Toxjq going to grab the lower armor shard. 5 seconds. The heavy's going to go up the jump pad. Cypher's waiting. There's 2 good rockets. Make that 3, and there is Cypher's first frag on a Blood Covenant there. Dropping down, almost catching him out on that spawn. Toxjq luckily takes the upper stairs towards the middle area here. On the rail, there's a rocket waiting for him. Needs to be very careful here. The rail's going to miss from Cypher. The return from Toxjq will land. However, the follow-up will not.
Interesting situation for Cypher, wasn't it? Where it's just, you know what, enough is enough. I think I need to finally make a play. You know, he's consistently sitting there on more stack, but Tox able to kind of just slip away every single time. It was time to change. And in this case, Cypher's able to bag frag number 1, and it did take over half the map to get there.
Great rail.
His rails have just been absolutely on par with Tox, if not better. And I think it's a high demand that you need to be able to really go, you know, toe-to-toe with someone that can aim like this. But that said, you know, the change to Visor, the fact that we don't have the... Unfortunately, I'm not 100% what the champion bans were, obviously, because the graphics aren't quite reflecting what has happened in the match, but I can only assume perhaps maybe a Slash was banned away. Maybe these fast champions haven't quite been put through the selection. Right now, Cypher's sitting on a comfortable lead stack-wise, but 1 frag can easily escape you. All it takes is 1 misstep, 1 amazing shot. Tox looking for the flick, but can't quite land it. Misses 2, but not before Cypher returns the favor with 1.
Cypher trying to get up on that second level there. Fortunately, the rocket jumps will not work out for him as we're rounding 7 minutes in. Cypher still up by 1. Toxjq firing some rockets. A good rail. Is he going to go for another one? Going to miss. And Cypher's going to hit a rail of his own with the Mega to his back. Great rockets there.
But it really feels to me like every time Tox lands something significant, Cypher is at very least able to even the odds. And that kind of makes the fight a little bit nerve-wracking. It makes it so you can't be super dedicated to it. Tox, he's landing shots, but not before eating a rail himself. And then it's, wow, am I really in a position where I can actually take this fight? You know, is it too much of a risk? When I'm 7-15 in, do I want to make it 2-0 or 1-1 if the risk is almost 50-50?
Absolutely, but at a certain point, you have to weigh that against, I need this frag regardless, so you're not going to have the best entry, but you're going to have to go regardless of the situation. Here's the LG, a little bit of tri-bolt. Cypher waiting patiently, going to drop down, get the 25, and secure that heavy. Toxjq coming in from nail gun, a little bit of rocket, and he's going to back off. Trying to catch Cypher out, but nothing doing. There's a little bit of LG as he doubles back into the tri-bolt. Cypher's going to be able to escape through the lower and hit a great rail on the escape. Toxjq still pushing, though, on that 50 armor with more LG. And another rail opportunity for Cypher. He's going to miss. He gets 1 more as Tox isn't looking the right way. 25 HP down in the catacombs in the pillar area. 8 minutes down by a frag, and he was just tempting fate with that shoulder peek.
But Cypher having the utmost confidence that Tox will indeed peek that corner. And he did give him exactly what he wanted. There is an element here that I think Cypher is just so super screwed into this. However, he's taken a lot of damage. Tox has to really all or nothing this potentially, as we're now less than 2 minutes on the clock. And that's why Tox is still looking to try and really suffocate Cypher if he can. You really can't allow him to build up a massive stack as we're going into a 1-minute warning, because then it's going to become so hard to get just the 1 frag you need. He is going to go up the jump pad, though. Might have been a mistake, because now he's taking so much damage, denying the Mega. He risks losing out on everything here. We're about to go into the 1-minute warning. If that was a 2-0, that's some really bad news. Unfortunately, he gets ambushed near heavy, and at the very least, I mean, Tox is able to deny it, but that's pretty late in the map to give up something like that.
The only saving grace was that he took the heavy, but now with a minute left, all the pressure's on. He needs to grab a rocket launcher and go. There's the MG trying to put in the work. There goes the Wally. MG's getting decent mileage, but Tox just doesn't have the stack for this. He also doesn't have a choice in the matter. Somehow he survives. 50 seconds left. He's so incredibly weak after Cypher just grabbed the Mega, and this is going to be almost an impossible battle.
Yeah, when you got the frag advantage this late in the game, you have to take so much time just to restack up. You know, Tox is now running the circuit around, trying to collect the light house and the light armors. That all takes time, and time is something that Tox doesn't have at the moment. Gets caught in the teleporter. Should be another fight. Could go either way, but the swap to rail, that wasn't even a reaction. That was a, I know exactly when you're going to go round, and he picks up a 4th, looking real good in map number 1. And Cypher, I mean, I think he's online for you, 100%.
Absolutely opening this one up near the end. Tox didn't really have a choice. He had to push in. There's some LG work at the end there. Bit of a consolation frag as Cypher takes map number 1 against Tox in this series.
I think Cypher can be elements of, okay, we're good, we're doing well, but there's still a map to get through. And we've seen Tox plenty of times before, how we can have one bad map and the next map is just, you know, completely flipped on its head. But fundamentally, Cypher just owned that map through and through. He had ultimate control. His accuracy was off the chain. His rails were looking significantly stronger than Tox's as well, to the point where, I mean, that's it. If you want to be able to go toe-to-toe with Tox when he's playing really well, you have to be able to hit as much shots as he has. And then Cypher somehow had this just next level of accuracy compared to it. Even down to this, like, just decisions. You know, like he's just so ready for every single outcome. And I feel like some of this might come back down into that player tendency thing that we discussed before this series even began. Cypher has so much experience against players like Tox. I mean, they're both old school, right?
Absolutely.
They've played Quake once or twice before.
They've been around the block. They've been around the block as we take a look at the stats from that matchup. I really 14
loved heavy armors.
I really loved that play at Rockets where he kind of slowed things down and was like, I'm just going to wait. You're going to come into me. And then easy first frag, which kind of opened up with the rails there that we saw. But yeah, Cypher looking very strong. I think Tox needs to make a little bit of an adjustment there. I really loved how, again, he stayed alive after the fight in Pillars. He had 10 HP at most, somehow scraped it back, made it another 3-4 minutes before getting, before Cypher got the best of him. And if Tox can kind of stay alive like that and maybe have some better traps, I think a fight or two goes his way and then he could take map number 2.
There were a couple of situations there where Tox really needed to hit the rail. And if he did, you know, who knows how much difference it would have made. You know, a couple of times Cypher was railable to death and Tox didn't quite hit the mark. And that's unfortunate for him because normally Tox is one of the players that you'll bet will hit those miracle shots every single time. And when he doesn't, you know, he just gives the player room to escape and, you know, they restack back up and all that work is undone. You know, when the moment arises, you have to be very opportunistic with it. And Tox, unfortunately, couldn't really find his footing. And even down to that first frag on Blood Covenant, it almost forced Tox into a false sense of a comfortable rhythm, didn't it? You know, where, okay, he's cycling around the map, he's collecting it here, he's collecting it there. Tox spent a lot of time just kind of running around where he knew Cypher wouldn't be, just getting the small items to bring his stack back up. And it was the moment, you know, Cypher just put a spanner in the works, as it were, and said, I'm going to finally try and break up this pace, because I think we're both getting a bit too stuck in routine here. Cypher, but it's the bold play. Cypher was the one that made that play, and Toxic fell into it because he was still running that circuit. As we're going into map number 2, though,
and another interesting thing that I found out, I think it was lower heavy armor where Cypher was lining up some rails. Tox just seemed like he was getting hit and not even paying attention where he was getting hit from. I think Cypher got 2 or 3 free rails from those angles that weren't that surprising. But map number 2, this could be a lot more surprising as we have Anarchy versus Nyx on Awoken. Is Cypher going to sweep Tox?
I mean, we talk about crouch sliding champions being Tox's bread and butter, you know, being the greatest Quake 4 player in history. However, his Anarchy is not to be underestimated. You know, I feel like the second crouch sliding champions like Slash, they were kind of out of the meta for a little bit. And Anarchy was kind of the new hotness in that respect. Tox was putting a lot of time into really mastering Anarchy's movement, to the point where now I feel like he's almost just as lethal with Anarchy as he is with those crouch sliders. However, Nyx is going to have more immediate utility. And if Cypher's hitting those shots, then Tox is going to have to rely heavily on that movement, getting him through, just getting to spots before Cypher can get there. But I think that Ghost Walk might be a real pain in the backside because Cypher's just playing so well today. The utility of a Get Out of Jail free card is just makes such a difference. The LG looking hot.
Such good LG there. This is going to trap him into the Batcave, and down he goes. Cypher with a quick first frag.
Absolutely smothered him to secure that first frag here. Only 10 seconds away from having that Ghost Walk as well, which means the next time a fight happens, he's probably going to have that ready to go, which is only going to spell bad news for Anarchy. You know, Anarchy's injection, it can work wonders, but again, she can really use that Ghost Walk the moment you use anything to try and shift momentum. You know, sometimes that injection, it's a mid-fight tool, and if she can just go invincible and disappear, then, you know, what difference does it make apart from forcing the Anarchy to disengage the fight?
Could be absolutely frustrating here depending on how it's used, and never forget the double jump. The mobility, especially on this map, very important here. Cypher trying to look for a rail through the drive-through window. We'll grab the heavy for free. A little bit of rocket coming in, but he's going to clip the ledge. So rail's coming out now. Almost hits the third. Cypher responds with a rail of his own. Heavy armor, or the middle armor taken.
But not before. Even though Toxjq got the Mega, the big thing is that he was able to also hit Cypher with that second rail as he's coming through. Doubles back though. Cypher in pretty poor shape here. Just takes one rail to delete him in this situation. He's still railable even with this help. Tox going in.
What a
entry
rocket.
rockets. He just needs a bit more than that. His issue right now for you has just been the inability to finish it.
45 HP, and somehow Cypher's still alive.
I feel like a big part of Cypher surviving these situations that he is just, I think it's his defensive options. He's always making sure that his back is somewhere that he can escape to. That's 100 damage on a rocket. Very important entry damage. He's going to get a free rocket using in the Ghost Walk to guarantee it. And now he just needs to hit one miracle rail and then finish the job. But he's still railable with this health. Has to be really careful not to give his position away. Those two rockets not connecting at all. Really good news, because it means that Tox is now like, okay, well maybe he's not there. But it allowed him to spring the trap too. The uncontested rocket, thanks to that positioning near pillar. Very, very good placement there. Hits a rail, but again, Toxjq able to even the odds. He's chasing it down with the LG. Does he go full speed ahead? Is he looking for a rail angle? Hits his mark. Cypher only on 10 HP. He's got to try and get out of there, but again, Tox is on the warpath and he smells blood. Here comes that Ghost Walk. Makes the right call, doubles back. Cypher's plays so far. He's done a really good job of just bypassing Tox. That's not happened a few amounts so far. That's at least 2 times in a very short space of time. He's been able to just slip the net.
Doing a great job of staying alive. Cypher playing it very, very slow with the frag lead. 330 in.
Wow, he survived that 40. Can you believe it? On 10 HP.
That's exactly what Toxjq did. Deja vu here as he's going to trap at the rail. A little bit of rockets coming out with 27 HP, and that's going to be Tox getting the frag. Pushing in with the LG finally. Tying it up at 1. There's the rocket jump and the injection for the speed.
But there's something about how Cypher is picking these traps that come through, and a big part of it, I think, is just really like mathematical knowledge of the map, where he's so aware of how much of his own position is being hidden by the terrain that Toxjq is in some ways running right past him. Is Tox going to go for the fight? Opts for the rocket jump, uses the Ghost Walk to do so, eats a lot of LG in the process, is able to dodge some of those nails, but he needs a little bit more health to come back. Still railable at this health. It's been helped a little bit by those small pickups, but he needs to hit this rail or significant rocket damage. He's going to go in, puts himself within LG range, though not before taking a bunch of damage. The injection's good, but he needs armor.
There's a rocket jump up, a little bit of LG damage from Tox there as he's positioned above heavy. The LG from Cypher absolutely catches him off guard. Toxjq not happy with that one. Cypher takes the lead 2-1 here. We're getting close to the halfway point. Cypher could potentially be on the brink of going 2-0 against Tox here.
But once again, he's waiting for Tox to be the one that pushes forward first. He's content that he's not making a lot of noise. Perfect timing there on the Mega. Tox very, very weak, and to be honest, I'm not sure how much of a good job he's going to be able to do to escape. The injection's not ready for 10 seconds. There's not a lot of pickups on the map compared to Cypher's stack that can really compete with it. The injection gets popped, but he's still 1 hit away from death. Tries to go in with the jump pad, does not work at all. Cypher running away with this map as well, it seems.
Oh my
rocket
God. Is brutal. Can he follow up with it? Up the jump pad, a little bit of LG, and that's going to be 4-1 as Cypher really tearing this one open here. Tox needing to use everything at his disposal and still couldn't stay alive. He's going to get caught out at Rockets. There's the Ghost Walk. And now here comes the chase. Ooh, I like that little jump there. Toxic making a circle, grabbing that 50 shard.
Tox has got quite a lot of work to do. I know normally 3 frags doesn't sound like much, but with how out of this world Cypher is playing right now, it looks kind of tricky to deal with. It's just the speed at which, and he's so in tune with where Tox wants to be. Every time Tox is going around a corner, you know, very rarely when a fight breaks out is it not Cypher the one that draws first blood, the one that fires the first shot, and it's something that really matters too, damage-wise. It just feels like he knows exactly where Tox wants to go every single time.
Still in all, less than 4 minutes, and this could be Cypher's map here. There's the Ghost Walk after a lot of LG. Toxic absolutely crippled, and the rail through the telly will net Cypher another frag. That's 5-1, and the heavy in the pocket here. Does need a little bit of health. He's going to grab 125, potentially going through the teleporter.
I mean, we've barely touched on how insane Cypher's LG has been this entire game as well. Against Anarchy as well, of all champions. I know the LG will be quite good against Anarchy in some ways because of his airborne movement, but again, Cypher's going to pull out. He's going to try and get away from this fight as safely as possible. Another common thing that Cypher's been doing, just his escape routes have been immaculate. Tox has been completely unable to chase him.
Spots the heavy, does have the Ghost Walk up. Tox from above will eat a rocket, and the Ghost Walk will save any damage that could be laid on Cypher, and Tox is going to be so frustrated. 3 minutes left, 4 frags down. There's the LG on LG. Tox is going to go all in on this one.
Oh my god.
And he will get absolutely destroyed there. Good damage, but Cypher had the stack in the LG, and he's tactically delaying that Mega a little bit, and the stack's going to get real thick, real fast here. 2.5 minutes down by 5. Tox needs to get something going, but Cypher just has all the answers.
Tox looking to get just a bit of information with those rockets. Unfortunately, he is reaching alarming territory quite quickly. There comes a rocket as well. Consistently when a fight breaks out, is Tox not really in the shape to take it compared to Cypher at least, especially with the accuracy. And again, he springs another trap, fully in tune with where Tox wants to navigate this map. And it just feels like, you know, what can Tox do at this stage? Everywhere he's trying to go, he's clearly making enough noise that Cypher is fully aware of what's going on.
And with time ticking, doesn't have much of a choice. Cypher, that scared me a little bit. Almost jumped off the map, 7-1, and Cypher's making a statement right now. Less than 2 minutes away from advancing after already qualifying for Quake Pro League earlier in the day. And there's a rail, 8-1. Cypher just so unbelievably strong right now, showing his dominance on Awoken.
Doing a wonderful job. He's going to use the rail downtime to punish heavily. Tox is going to fall again. And the fact that Anarchy, he's quite a notorious champion for making a little bit less noise than some of the other champions when you're on the receiving end. And yet, Cypher is still able to just get so much information on where Tox is on the map. He's going to get caught by some Tribolt, but looking to get a reactionary shot from Teleporter. Not going to bite, but I mean, we're verging the 1 minute warning. 9-1. 40, I'm pretty much ready to call this one done and dusted. Cypher, extremely likely.
Wow.
Make that guaranteed to defeat Toxic 10-1.
Strafes out with the buckshot, and wow. What can you say but Cypher, Cypher, Cypher right now? 10-1, minute left. It looks like he's going to take this, barring some sort of absolute miracle.
Gets 100, immediately putting Tox back again, and this by all accounts is a victory lap of the map. Even if he dies now, it's not punishing, but it doesn't matter because he's going to frag Tox for another time. 30 seconds on the clock, 10 frags to even things up. This win became utterly impossible.
Oh,
the rails are disgusting. Doesn't even matter that he didn't get the frag because, I mean, I just feel like he's playing on the level that we always expected him to play. Tox had a very hard time getting around it. I feel like Tox has been kind of running around this map, kind of just handing himself to Cypher more often than not. But in a way, it's one of those weird situations where it's like Cypher just seems so aware.
It just got a bit out of control too early. It looks like that's going to be it. Cypher adds another one for good measure, but that's it. Cypher advances. He takes out Tox 2-0, and that was absolutely impressive.
That was a crazy display. And if Cypher keeps playing like that for the rest of this weekend, then, I mean, maybe going all the way doesn't become so unrealistic.
This could be the run. This could be the tournament.
But I feel like...
got Kron next, we already discussed.
But with the matchups that we've just seen, it kind of looks like perhaps Cypher could still take this versus Kron as well. You know, Hron didn't play bad today by any means. He's actually played exceptionally well. I know Zoot and I were talking about that earlier on, but I really feel like Hron is going to have quite the adversary if Cypher is playing at this level throughout the duration of the entire tournament. You know, I really think he kind of woke up versus Garpy and really capitalized on some grave mistakes that Garpy made when they played in challenges. Against Tox, it just looked like Tox wasn't really playing the same game. This map gave up the lead quite early, and then we just reached a crazy level where how many times did Cypher just spring this trap on Tox? And even then, the LG just melted him every single time. Like, that frag right there just kind of said it all to me, that Tox is so famously known for hitting the shots when he needs to, running around at 1,000 miles per hour, and just being impossible to keep up to date with. Because to beat Tox, you have to keep up with Tox. But right now, that series looked like Tox was the one that was having to keep up with Cypher, and he couldn't.
Just look at all these frags where he's trapped in a corner or a doorway. It's just so hard to do anything as Anarchy when you're stuck in a corner up against a wall. Cypher doing a great job of setting the traps. He's looking strong, man. It's scary. It's scary.
But I mean, if you're in Cypher's shoes, you're probably going to be feeling pretty good about that one. You know, commiserations to Toxjq for making it as far as he did in QPL. You know, he didn't have to worry about relegation at all. We had a fantastic second half of Stage 1. And we'll be seeing him in Stage 2, hopefully with just even more fire in his belly. But, I mean, the man of the hour here is going to be Cypher. That display was one of the most impressive performances I think we've seen in QPL Stage 1 so far. And I think what a way to remind everyone that not only is he out of challenges, but he's here to stay.
He's here to stay, indeed. 59% rail. Just a great performance. Awoken really, really tore it up. And even on Blood Covenant, it was a fantastic performance, even though the frag differential wasn't that great. It was just really well played by Cypher.
It was a game of accuracy for me. The accuracy was just this... it reaches a point where when we're saying that Tox is the one that is getting heavily out-aimed, it's like, well, that's crazy. What's going on? But we have got the bracket ready, so we can update you guys and girls at home on today's action. In case you're new, in case you just got here, we had the Challenger tournament first. You can see the journey that happened there. Those players moved on into round of 16, of which we have only just started. Hron versus Cypher is going to be a matchup in the round of 12, which I cannot wait to see. However, we have a whole bunch of games left to go. Up next, one I think you're excited for, Genic versus the man from Liquid, Dahang.
That is going to be a good one. I know that they've sparred before. I think Genic has taken some games off Dahang. Again, land, completely different experience, but we've seen that Genic not really going to let the nerves get to him. It was a little bit shaky against Brick, but he got it done, qualified for Quake Pro League, but now is a really, really big test to take out Dahang.
And then we're also in a position where, you know, looking at those quarterfinals, there were indeed 4 players that made it through to quarterfinals day automatically thanks to their top 4 global placements. Rafa, Razy, Cooler, and Kilson being those players. And I mean, you know, is it really the surprise of anyone they managed to place the way they did? Probably not. However, we have got a whole bunch of games to get through to reach that point. We're going to cut to another break, set up Genic versus Dahang. Don't go anywhere because this is the Quake Pro League Stage 1 Finals, and we'll see you in a few minutes' time.